Show 'em how you get up in your bag. Show 'em that swag. What you see is what you get. When I look in the mirror, I'm looking like a man. Like we playing tag bad, I'm the top pick. Show 'em what you're working with. Break the circuit, be a hit. Go ahead and make them sit. If you gotta hate it, then your purpose is equipped. Tell them catch you later, cause you serving up some grits. Meaning hot with the drip when I drop in the mix. The proof is in the pudding. Show 'em how you do it. They do it like they shouldn't. You don't need to brag, cause your competition couldn't. You don't need to boast, cause the proof is in the pudding. Show 'em that swag. Show 'em that swag. Show 'em that swag. Show 'em that swag. Show 'em what you got. Show 'em how you get up in your bag. Show 'em that swag.
All right, we can kick this thing off. I'm Reagan. I'm a part of the customer care team here at PhotoDay. I am very excited to introduce you guys to Matt and Kane, two familiar faces around here. Got a special place in our heart here at the PhotoDay family. These two are going to be talking to you about a sports photographer's journey with PhotoDay, pro athletes to volume photography. They've got a really cool set of slides here for you. I'm excited to watch this one. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Anything we don't get to as it comes in, we'll circle back to at the end. Gentlemen, take the floor.
All right. So again, I'm Matt, and that's Kane. Oh man. Okay, I'm knocking over my bootleg station here, so let me get things going. All right, so right now we're going to talk about the level up workshop, just experience everything from what we do. Then we introducing Matt, the GOAT. If you don't know who he is, you will find out by the end of this webinar. So I'm not going to do too much, talking, but basically we're going to talk about the workshop too. So it's basically time to level up your work. It's time to level up your photos and level up your business. You got something to say on that one, Matt?
No, man, I'm going to let you take the floor
okay.
on it. I'm not known in this space, so I'll let you voir who I am and my expertise. You just run with it. So
all right,
I'm going to jump over for you to intro yourself here.
All right, so basically, who am I? So a lot of you guys should know me if you don't, but I am one of the original PhotoDay OGs, one of the original trailblazers. Whoop, whoop. I am the Get the App guy. I made the rap video with the CL's photo jersey on, jumping off the bleachers, hitting my head up on the dugout of the baseball field. I'm one half of CL Photos. My wife Lauren is the other half. I call her the machine. I just go out, shoot. She does all the back end type stuff. I am an educator that always answer his phone, no matter if it's in the PhotoDay users group, team and volume group, any group or anything like that, any conference that I may have met someone. First thing I'm quick to do is give out my phone number, and I pick up my phone no matter what, whether it's photo shoots, family outings. I get yelled at all the time by my wife, but I'm that one educator no matter what I'm doing. You could probably even catch me in the shower and I pick my phone up. I'm a dad and all that good stuff. So next, who am I? Where did we start at? So in 2016, we were starting off. We didn't know which direction we was going. So we was doing like weddings, senior pics, schools, anything that could be shot, cats, dogs. We didn't care. We was doing it. 2018, we went to our first conference, extra broke, probably the last $800 we had because neither one of us was working. Took my chance at the conference. At the end of that conference, I got my first league. And then on the drive home after that, I got my second league. And then we just started gaining traction going from there. And then up to like 2020, it was the first time I spoke at a conference during like COVID. And then after that, it was second gig, third gig. And then we always just been popping out, showing off. And I always hijack a PhotoDay, do a couple PhotoDay hijacks here and there. Cha-ching. All right, so like define your brand. So this is what we're known for. Our brand is, we like to say, is edgy. This is what we know for: edginess, composites. Like my wife Lauren does a lot of our graphics. Then we got a couple other friends that do graphic work too. Matt does some graphic work. Josh, Don, all the big guys, you know, Josh, Don, Ben, JT, Jermaine Taylor, Alvin Coleman, all of the guys. But this is what we're known for. We're known for composite shooting. And this is some of our work right here. So all of these designs that I'm showing you now is designs that my wife Lauren made. I probably got about 0.5% in those designs, you know, a little bit of critiques and making her scrap this or add that. So I got a little tidbits in there some type way. Cha-ching. All right, so a little bit more. So we're just showing off. So some of these designs you guys probably recognize, but basically this is just us in our volume world and our youth sports stuff when we out photographing little leagues. Again, we do composites, and I always tell people we do composites well. If anything, we are either the Chick-fil-A of the composite game or we the Five Guys of the composite game. Ain't no chicken sandwiches here, no fish sandwiches. You only getting burgers at Five Guys. As far as Chick-fil-A, you ain't getting no burgers there neither. You're just getting chicken sandwiches. So that's what you get with CL Photos. That's what we're known for. So you have to be known for something. So yeah, so again, we are where we at. Let's go back one. Let's just go back one real quick. Yeah. So we are known for fun shoots, efficient shoots, and consistency. It don't matter if we shoot outside, inside, outside in a dugout, a press box. It don't matter wherever we shoot at, you will know that's a CL photo just from the lighting and the consistency of images. And with the PhotoDay platform, just going across every gallery, it's consistent from morning till evening, just a consistent look. That's what we're known for in our area. So you got to be consistent. You got to have a workflow that when people see it, they're like, yo, that's such and such. All right. So basically, there's levels to this thing right here. So the way that we do our stuff is we have schools, we have youth sports, and then we have like creative sessions, sportraits, whatever you want to call them. So basically, we filter in from youth sports. Youth sports do a lot of things because it's like guerrilla marketing. Whenever we out, we could pass out flyers to let people know, customers know that we never dealt with when we got a volume sports, like a youth sports thing, a league day, and say, hey, did you know we also shoot schools? And then if those school photos up, they give us a call. So we jump into the schools again and we do composites and talk a little bit more about how we start switching things up. But then we also do creative sessions where we have a little bit more time because you always hear people like, you just rushing them through. But it's just like, hey, y'all gave us 8 minutes to photograph this team before they have to hit the field, or 10 minutes, you know, for this team. So sometimes parents don't understand. So we also communicate that on a league day just to let them know, like, hey, you want something a little more, you know, detailed with your son, more personalized to your daughter. Then we have these creative sessions and we'll composite something, put something together cool for them. And again, Lauren to do a graphic. And I have about, at that point, a 0.10. I'm going to just say bump it. I got a 10% input on that one. All right. Now we go cha-ching. Y'all don't know what that means, but I'll explain that. Scared money don't make money. I always tell people when I teach, I never really look at what people are doing inside of the industry. I always look at what people are doing outside of the industry. And whether that's food, I always reference Costco, Starbucks when I teach, Chick-fil-A and Five Guys, but I always look on the outside to learn. And basically, I was looking on the outside and I came across my broski, Matt. I came across his page and it was a Ja Morant photo shoot. And I think it was a Zion Williams photo shoot. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this work look good right here. Like, I wanna level up. I want to get on that status. Like, I want to take my work from what it is to really making kids feel like pros. So how did I do that? It goes down in the DMs, huh? So I hit up Matt. And when I hit up Matt, I'm gonna just read some of this because I can't see. And every time I go to Ching, Matt is controlling the board because I'm on my phone and I can't see nothing. But here we go. So I hit up Matt, shot him a message. Hey, Matt, I just wanted to shoot you a message. Huge fan of your work. And I hope we could, you know, I know you probably get that a lot. And he responded. And I was like, yo, this guy responded to me. So I'm like, all right, say no more. So yeah, so I felt like Santa, and I just kept messaging Matt, like, yo, I got this shoot. How you do that shoot right there? That joint was clean and this, that, and the third. Cause at this time we was doing volume shoots, but I wanted to offer something on the side of the volume where it was just a white station that I would charge parents like $35 just for their kids to get like 2 shots cash, $35 cash that they could just get like 2 shots on a white seamless. And I really never did white seamless that much. So Matt sent him something back. He like, yo, that looks cool. But next time put a little piece of plexi under there and then this and then that. And I'm like, we bonding. I didn't know how long it was going to last. You know, we talking to a goat. And then we end up here. We became bros. We became broskies. Matt returned the call one day. And then we was just chopping it about volume stuff and photo day. And I ain't have to tell Matt nothing else because Matt knows way more than me. And next thing you know, Matt like, hey, you want to go to a photo shoot? And I'm like, sure. So he like, we're going to Chicago. I have family visiting and everything. So I said, who for? Is it like a little youth team or, a team? He like, nah, Derrick Rose. Man, I left my family. They drove all the way up from New Jersey. So whoever in New Jersey, I just left them here. And I'm like, I'm gone. And I went, got to assist with Matt, set up some lights, and just see that whole background of actually a photographer working with a pro, a Hall of Famer, a legend. And I was like, yo, this is a cool experience, and this is what I want. But not only that, this is how I level up to bring that back to my youth sports. And then, it wasn't like a one night stand or nothing like that with the broskies and the bromance. Matt hit me again, like, yo, look, going to New Jersey. I'm like, what? He like, we got the jet shoot. And I'm like, okay, coolly. I'm there no matter what. And look at that. I got to try on the Jets, the helmet, the jersey. We good. And then that was that. And I learned a lot from that experience on how professional teams run media days. And then after that, third time's a charm. Look at that. Matt give me that call again. Like, hey, down in Boston. I'm like, what's in Boston? Like the Tatum return shoot. Man, I dropped exactly what I was doing. Took that little 10, 11-hour drive, and I was down there again assisting the bro. And again, working with a pro athletes, pro staff, everything like that, just learning different mannerisms, how to maneuver, how to walk around, and just, how to interact with those pros helps on this next part right here. Cha-ching. One thing my bro Matt told me, I think we was at the Derrick Rose shoot. We went out to a little Irish pub place to eat. And we was just talking, and Matt said something to me and it stuck with me. It was like the environment should enhance the subject. And when he told me that, I was just like, wow, that's deep and it's crazy. And it made me look at taking photos differently. It made me look at when I'm inside of a gym, those things in the gym, those banners and, the old walls, whether it's writing on the walls, like broken shot clocks or whatever, all of those things mean something to a person. And you have to use those things to enhance the subject because that helps tell a story. And whenever I go into a gym now, it's like, I want to light that gym to show, the what's the word I'm looking for? The character of the gym, because that tells a story. And that's like one gym that'll stick with me forever whenever I try to go somewhere. But basically, after working with Matt, we start breaking things down to the point where when we do our media days, we do them like pros. So we have several stations. So when you look up here, we have in the gym, we have white. And then I tried to steal that from Matt. It's not as good, but when you show like your rim lights and your paper and all that type stuff, the next one's just inside again. And then, some smoke because the kids said they wanted that. And then we did headshots. And then we had a video station there. But all of these is things that I learned because I was working and assisting Matt on a pro level, and I was able to bring that back to our high school. So we offer different tiers. Like right here, we give them options. So the options are, hey, we'll provide you guys, y'all want headshots, composites, natural, you want a video station, do you want a seamless station? And then sometimes I'm gonna just choose it myself to get more variety. And I have a way that I actually run all of these stations now. After going with Matt, coming home, sitting down and watching a Founder movie with Michael Keaton, the McDonald's joint, on how to run a one-man, four-station media day. And that's how I operate mines, to the point where it's almost like volume, but it's not, because media day is other things that incorporates and goes into that rather than just a shoot. It's keeping the kids entertained the whole time, not just waiting in line like Disney, just like, yo, you know what I mean? So it's about keeping them entertained. And these are things that I learned from my bro. So listen, right now, this ain't the Kane show, because y'all know me. You know what I do. I'm Mr. 3-4 light guy, composite guy, efficiency, consistency. That's me. But right here, this is introducing the one, the only, the GOAT, Matthew Coughlin. Woo, 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 woo.
I appreciate the intro, Kane. I don't know how I'm going to follow this. Kane was built to be on this side of the camera. He's got the personality for it, whether it's a microphone or a video. But my name's Matthew Coughlin. And I do want to start out that I am right here today on this PhotoDay platform because I'm an actual customer. I'm a PhotoDay user. You're going to see different levels of my work. And for the last 12 years, I've been a professional commercial and editorial photographer, and I've worked with the biggest athletes in the world, around the world, and I still do that today. While my wife and I, in my downtime seasonally, we allocate about 10 to 12 days a season, and we run a volume business. So I'm not just on this platform just chatting at you for my professional level work, but I literally have been in the volume game for about 2 years now, and it's all thanks to Kane, and we'll get into that story a little bit. But I do kind of want to introduce myself and talk a little bit more about what I do. So like I said, I'm a pro level photographer. I work with major sports brands. I've shot campaigns for Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Oakley, New Balance, and I've worked with some of the biggest athletes in the world. I've won awards throughout my career that have been curated by juries with judges from like Apple, Time Magazine, National Geographic, and other things like that. And I've been doing this full time for about 12 years, just photography. I don't work with retainers. I don't have any other jobs. I just support my family with my camera, and I've been doing it at a high level for a while now. So give you a little bit of background. At one point, Kane, we were chatting the other day. Kane and I talk, probably once a week, and it was funny to hear him say to me that, like, with him going and looking at my work, he just assumed like I was born into this, or I don't know, maybe my family or my dad was a photographer, and I just grew up with a camera, and it's just how it was. And it's like, no, I live in a very small town in the farthest northwest corner of Florida, and it's the really weird part that's actually Central Time Zone. So I don't live in a major market, and I didn't pick up a camera until I was 30 years old. I was working at a law firm, just doing multimedia work, doing web design and some video work. And one day we got a DSLR camera to shoot video with, and out of curiosity, I took an interest in photography and started asking if I could bring the camera home on the weekends to take pictures of my kids. And I just kind of taught myself off-camera lighting, and it went from a curiosity to a hobby to an addiction. And I was obsessed with learning portraiture, and specifically environmental portraiture is what really caught my eye, and telling a story about a person in their environment, lighting it so that way the subject stands out and it is enhanced. And that's how I kind of built my foundation. And I solely focused on just portraiture with people. And as people got to know my work in my little community, I got asked to shoot weddings. I got asked to take family pictures and do other things. And I just turned that stuff down. That wasn't what I was interested in. It was straight hobby for me. And I didn't feel like I was in a position to take people's money yet while I was learning. And then also that subject matter didn't resonate with me. So I didn't feel like it was a right fit. But as I got into my second year of teaching myself, I built my own website and basically had a high-level portfolio. And I started emailing magazines and advertising agencies in my area. And it was less than 2 years. I got work published in Sports Illustrated, and I got my first assignment with ESPN, the magazine. And that was sort of the start of my journey. So we'll jump in and I'll show you guys a little bit of my work here to give you an idea and a sense of what it is that I do. My first slide here is I've shot over 20 Slam magazine covers. They're one of my clients who consistently come back to me for work. I just got hit up yesterday to go to Minnesota next week to shoot with potential rookie of the year for the WNBA, Olivia Miles. But editorial work is something I absolutely love doing. I feel like I get a little bit more creativity when it's editorial work versus paid advertising work. Advertising work, usually they're coming to you with an idea and you can have some input. But for the most part, the concepts are usually set. The next slide we're going to jump into is video. So I also direct and produce video as a part of my Matthew Coughlin photography company. And the video that I'm going to show you is a New Balance baseball video that we shot with Francisco Lindor, who's on the New York Mets. And this campaign ran for about a year and ran across all the huge curvy billboards in Times Square and other places like that when it was launched and when he had signed with the New York Mets. So this will give you a sense of what the video side is that I do here.
This is the moment. Francisco Lindor.
So, like I said, that was a baseball campaign we shot for his first initial shoe launch, the Lindor one. And that was pretty incredible for me to do because, again, I ran the whole production. I directed the video side of it, along with shooting all the still assets for the campaign. As I jump into the next slide, this is a little bit of commercial work. I've done a lot of stuff for Nike. There's a Nike Vision Kids campaign. Oakley is probably one of my biggest clients that I work with the most. I've done a lot of golf work with them. I don't do a ton of product work, but this is just a sample of some product stuff that I shot for Gold Toe Socks for a campaign we did a few years ago. And a little bit more work with some more Nike stuff, some more Oakley stuff. So this kind of gives you an insight into, the level of pro work that I'm doing on the advertising side. And I believe the next slide is a little bit of like a behind the scenes video for a Nike campaign that we shot at a studio in Brooklyn.
And I've been hustling all day, this away, that away, through canals and alleyways, just to say, money trees is the perfect place for shade, and that's just how
that's a little hyper video to give you an insight look at what it's like behind the scenes of a pro level advertising shoot. Just going through some more slides of my work. This is all these are all pro athletes. This is Bubba Watson that we shot for Oakley. That's Coco Gauff. It was a New Balance campaign I shot. Aaron Rodgers, I did a photo shoot with in Texas for Bose headphones with Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson. This Jason Tatum photo was shot earlier this year where Kane came up to Boston to help me out. This is an editorial shoot. The next slide is a tennis campaign video, again, where I did still assets for Danielle Collins, who's an American tennis player. This was her Wimbledon set for New Balance that we shot the campaign for, along with they wanted a video that was sort of showed a little bit of behind the scenes of the photo shoot, but they wanted to use it for an advertising asset. So this gives you a little bit of, you'll see some slides of what it was like during the photo shoot, but this is the final video for the marketing asset for this New Balance campaign. And I'll try to move through this a little quicker so we can get to a Q&A session at the end, but just a little bit more on my work. One of my longer running clients is the New York Jets, which stem from originally working with that team for a Nike football campaign. And they love the assets that I created for Nike for that campaign with a uniform launch, that they called me to bring me in for their media day to shoot what they call their action commercial set. And I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years now. So I actually go into a real true pro level media day, and I handle and shoot their the big photo set for all their marketing assets for the season. So like the billboards that go on the side of MetLife Stadium and throughout New Jersey and New York, all the images that go on their season tickets and all the other things that they use in their marketing materials. And then some editorial work with a couple pro basketball players. There's a photo of Russell Wilson when we shot that Bose headphone campaign. And here's a behind the scenes video from an editorial shoot for a magazine cover with Nafisha Collier, the Minnesota Lynx.
Hey, it's Fee. Come along with me to this slam shoot. I'm super excited, so let's get started.
Yeah, I'm making hits. I'm just trying to make my money, then split. I don't got all day, gotta make it quick. I'm just trying to make my money, then split. Yeah, I'm looking good, you gotta admit. Still trying to make my money, then split. Give me at the bank, yeah, I'm making hits. I'm just trying to make more. I ain't too legit. New school rock with the old heads. Smoke show, never smoke cigarettes. Bet on myself cause I know that I'm the best. I don't need a personality test. Show up, baggy tea and a vest. 2 gems shining just to match her necklace. Never meditate cause I don't get pressed. Stay stacking on my chest. Yeah.
All right, I keep trying to move through this just so you guys can kind of get familiar with my work. But yeah, I took a turn and started in the sports space a couple of years into my shooting, and I've got to be known as one of the top level people to get hired for campaigns and magazine assets and covers. So I stay pretty active in that space, along with doing other things in my area. I still shoot like healthcare stuff and some other commercial work regionally in the Southeast. But primarily, I'm getting hired to work with athletes. Up top, that's Noah Lyles, who's currently the fastest person in the world right now. Shohei Ohtani, who is like today's modern day Babe Ruth. And we'll look at one more video asset here, and then I'll kind of try to run through this. I want to make sure we have enough time for Q&A. The next slide is kind of like I showed and I feel like this has become a popular thing in the last few years, but like that New Balance video where there is a little bit of behind the scenes in the actual asset, in the marketing asset. This is where Early, who Sorry, I keep tapping my microphone, so I apologize if I've been making noise. This is Fred Curley, who is an American sprinter who I believe placed second in the Olympics behind Noah Lyles in the 100-meter dash. He signed with Oakley, and we flew down to Miami to shoot his onboarding campaign assets for Oakley. So this is a 30-second master video that came from that photo shoot.
How would you define speed?
Fred Curley. How's Fred Curley gonna make history? Continue to win gold medals, continue to inspire the next generation of athletes. In order to be the best, you gotta have a good team around you, and as long as everybody in line, where I go on the track is the easy part. I'm very excited to be a part of the Oakley family. It's a part of the lifestyle now.
So that's a good example of, this is a whole production that my company ran and staff. So I direct the video side of it, and I brought a DP with me who I trust to shoot the video assets. And then locally in Miami, we staffed and hired out grip and support for the project. So we'll just kind of click through these slides here. Just a little bit more work, some more stuff with the Jets. That's Trinity Rodman, who plays on the U.S. women's national team. This is a magazine cover I shot in Greece for Giannis's Zoom Freak 1 shoe launch. Collaboration with Nike and Slam Magazine sent me out there for the launch, where they pushed the shoe release out in Athens, Greece, where he grew up as a kid. And some college work, more pro basketball. Trinity Rodman again. I've shot with Patrick Mahomes a few times on for different brands. I get asked about him probably more than anybody else. But just to give you guys a sense of who I am again, my primary workload is commercial and editorial photography, and I'm also a director. I own and operate a 3,000 square foot studio in my area called Monix Studio. And that's where we're going to be hosting our Level Up seminar next month. And I am the co-founder of Vision Photo Works, which is our volume sports company that I like to say is my wife's company. After becoming friends with Kane and chit-chatting and getting to hear more about the volume side, she sort of started pushing me about trying to do that sort of seasonally. I'll go ahead and jump into that slide while I'm talking about it. But I travel a couple times a month. I work on bigger budget projects, and I somehow just carve out time to do the things that I want to do. So after Kane sort of like set up the idea of what volume sports could be, I reluctantly agreed to try it. I didn't think I was going to like it at all. I was like, man, hundreds of kids, multiple cameras, dealing with parents, and going from working with one athlete for a set amount of time to just, rapid firing through this. Like, I just didn't know if it was for me, but I agreed to try it. And shockingly, I absolutely loved it. I thought I was going to hate it. But I grew up playing sports. I've coached my kids in sports, and then just to be around the little kids, see their smiles and make them laugh and all that stuff. Like, it was way more joyful than I expected. And so we've kind of turned this into a thing that we've done for a couple of years now. And right out of the gate, it was generating over 6-figure income, into our business. And the backbone of it all, the biggest piece of advice Kane gave us was to use PhotoDay. And they are, a partner in this business. I don't know how else we would run the volume side of things without PhotoDay. And the thing that got me hooked was when I uploaded images when we were testing out how we were going to do this, and I got the extractions back, and I was blown away at the speed it was done, and then the accuracy of how clean the cutouts were. It was mind blowing. And then my wife is the mad scientist behind the scenes who sets up the jobs and does all of that stuff. But we wouldn't be here doing this without PhotoDay, and I'm not saying that because I'm on this platform right now. Like, it's a true fact. So we'll kind of click through some slides so you can see a little bit of the volume stuff that we do and try to get to this Q&A I want to do. This is a little BTS scene from one of our earlier photo shoots when we had first started, but just gives you an idea of, we try to staff out with multiple cameras and people checking in and posers. And the last thing I'll say about this is the other reason I love the volume side is I work with my family and I work with my friends. So like my kids are staffed. They're either posing or running a camera or checking in. And so I think that's the other side of it. It's fun being around the youth sports athletes, but I'm also hired out people I like to be around. And so when our group gets together and we work together, like, it's incredible. And I think that has a lot to do with it, is the atmosphere, but then the people that I'm working with. So I'll try to quit rambling so we can move through here. So this gives you an idea a little bit of how we do our volume stuff, which is it's actually kind of funny. I'm a humongous proponent of environmental portraiture, and I said that from the beginning that's the foundation of what I do. However, 90% of our volume work is composite, and a lot of that choice had to do with where our area where we're at. So I'm in the panhandle of Florida. It is disgustingly humid and hot. The weather is crazy unpredictable. And with the leagues that we have, that we work with, have some limited field space. So it was like trying to schedule around practices and availability of when we would use fields. It just made sense to kind of go the composite route. So we shoot for composite, and then that way the top key for me is I get consistency from first photo to last photo, from day one to sometimes if it's a 3-day shoot, depending on how big the league is. That's the biggest positive that we take away. And we offer 3 different options when we shoot our composite. Is we shoot on white seamless, and so we call that our classic look. So we offer color black and white on white, and those are huge sellers. We do a composite with a graphic, and then I utilize a field that they play on to do an actual background of the area where they are, so they can remember what the park looks like, the field, or things like that. But that gives you kind of a general sense of how we do the composite side. And I try to keep it light and simple. I'm not trying to go crazy. I'm not doing crazy poses. We keep things just very functional, very simple. We want to provide great quality images at affordable prices for families. And like I said, it's, brought in an incredible revenue stream that I would have never imagined. And it's really kind of pushed the entrepreneur side of me to my goal is to grow this beyond just my community to where we can staff and build out to where I can send a team to go handle another area and ultimately get to the point where I don't physically have to be at the shoot. And those are steps that we're working towards, but we're still very new into the volume side. We're still learning a ton. But let's see here, what else? I'm just looking at my last slide here. Like I said, it was born out of resistance. I didn't think I'd like it, but I loved it. Our goal is to provide fun, flattering photos at family affordable prices. We talked about the percentage of composites, and we're usually running 3 cameras and staffing about 10 people. So again, sort of that's my presentation on who I am at a high pro level, and why you may have been wondering, why am I talking to a team of, or a group of volume people, but I am also a volume shooter now, and that's something I'm proud of, and that's something that we want to keep growing and get better at. And it's all thanks to Kane. And so, we are putting together a workshop that we're running next month, and I just thought that'd be a good opportunity to get on a webinar with Kane, so I can kind of get my name out there. You can see at the level that I've worked at and what I do. And I'm Matthew, so.
I'll pop back in here and I'll invite Kane back too. Gentlemen, y'all did a great job. I think my jaw was on the floor or laughing the whole time. So thank you for that. Do got a couple questions. Go ahead.
I will say one thing that I meant to slip in. No matter who you have photographed, the biggest athlete in the world, and again, we can say Patrick Mahomes, awards you've won will humble you in the volume space when you get an email from Timmy's mom.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It does not matter what you've done, or awards you've won, anything. You cannot steer clear of opinionated parents. So I am in that mode.
To keep it real.
Yep. So, anyway, that'll be the last thing I say on that.
I love it. A couple questions for you guys. So the first one came through when Kane was talking, and it says, when doing volume, how do you offer the more customized backgrounds? Do you do a knockout image and add the fog name and signature on the PNG? Or are these mostly custom backgrounds that are made available?
It just depends. So when we do, like, for instance, when we do high school sports, we got like 2 high schools that just pay us to come do their media day. So we'll do that, and my wife Lauren, and make the custom backgrounds according to the school colors and all of that type stuff. But if we're just doing like a direction that we want. Are we back?
You're back.
You're back. You froze there for a sec.
Okay, yeah. So if we're doing a creative session, then we'll try to have some type of direction that we trying to achieve, poses and everything like that. And then I'll try to have some input on a creative session with like a simple graphic, but Lauren comes through and does everything. She's like 90% and I'm 10%. But we pick and choose it basically. So if it's a creative session, it takes a little more time. We know which way we going. So we get our poses, our lighting and this, that, and the third, and we design around that. But if it's a school, then Lauren creates like media packs and stuff like that. And we just put it together.
Perfect. The next question is, how do you run 4 stations with just one person?
Man, they got to come to the level of workshop for that. So basically, it's a system. Everything that I do, I try to have a system for it. So after I went to the New York Jet shoot with Matt, we had lunch with the guys and stuff like that, and I was able to walk around when Matt was shooting a couple times. We had a couple breaks and stuff like that early on, setting up lights. I just processed a lot of things, and I came home, and that's why I tell people, watch the movie The Founder. You'll see when they're building the kitchen at a playground, and I watched that movie like 6 high school shoot. I put it together. So it's basically, I don't want to get us away. I want them to come to the workshop for this, but it's basically like the little things, like let's say for instance, headshots. I know headshots is like this. Headshot takes no time to run. I don't care if I got 100 people, I can run 100 people like this for a headshot. That's my first station. So the way it's set up is I have one there, but it's a way and a system that I have that I capture it all. But also what I learned from going with the big bro Matt and leveling up is media day isn't just like, shout out to the guys doing it. It's no downplay because we do it too, whether it's smoking gels, whether it's lasers, whatever it is, however people run in media days, shout out to everybody that's doing it. But when I seen it at a pro level, especially with Matt, not every athlete has access to Matt Station. From the higher ups, they send in who they need to get there for like the like I guess like sponsors or for certain things. But then you have other stations where people entertain themselves and then they get to do other stations. So that's how I run my stuff. And it's kind of like I said, learning from being around Matt, leveling up. But you come, you get to see it in full action.
I love it. Well, you said where people entertain themselves, which clues right into the next question for Matthew. What are some tips that you might suggest for keeping things a fun experience for your athletes while you work?
So if I try to interpret that question, I guess what I'm wondering, and I don't know if that person can chime in, is, are you asking me from if I'm shooting with one athlete, like for example, Jason Tatum, like if I have that one athlete for a pro level shoot, or are you asking if I have multiple athletes on a set? And I'll try to answer both sides of that. Is so from the pro level side, a lot of times, I mean, I'll be honest, like they're not terribly excited to have their photo taken. Like they've got as they get more experience and become more of a veteran player, they've got better things to do with their time. And so I try to learn a little bit more about them, of what their interests are off the court. So I try to talk to them. You find out if they like video games, if they have a family or things like that, and try to talk to them like a real person and not a fan. Like, oh man, hey, what was it like dunking on LeBron James or whatever? Like, I don't really get into that side of it, but just try to be personable, and that kind of gets their mind at ease a little bit. But when we're dealing with multiple athletes, usually, so if I hit on where Kane was going with that, for how we run a media day for high schools, we do have multiple stations, and I do staff that out to where if we have four or five stations with different cameras, but music is a huge proponent, whether it's an editorial shoot, a pro level shoot, a media day shoot, volume shoot, whatever. Like I personally have to have music. And I think that helps kind of set the tone and the atmosphere for the space. It gets everybody relaxed. So music is huge, huge, huge for me. But one thing we've incorporated into our media days is, you've seen the corner drops with like the multiple graphics with like the team logos and the different things like that. We actually set that up as a man run station for the athletes themselves. So I set up a camera with a tripod and a transmitter, and I walk through with the athletes on how to use it themselves. And that's how where I don't have to worry about buddy shots. They go do the crazy stuff that they want to do in front of that camera and that station. And that keeps them entertained between going to different areas. And that's been a huge, that since we started doing that this year, that boosted sales on that side incredibly. They just wanted all those. I mean, those kids are taking 50 pictures with their friends and doing all of that stuff. So that's been a big help in keeping, if there is downtime, we try to be super efficient with how we run everything, but we make sure that they go hit that station. And so I hope I answered that question. I'm a rambler, so sometimes I get off topic.
That's all right. I think you nailed it. The next two questions kind of tie in together, so I'll hit you with both. How do you price your work, and how do you elevate past the cheap clients? I'm in LA and it's super competitive.
So from the other side, so for my Matthew Coughlin photography side, with editorial is pretty much set. So if a magazine calls for a story, and whether you're shooting a cover or a double truck on the inside, they usually have their rates. And you can negotiate if you want, if you need to hire an assistant, and what you're going to get comp for travel. But for the most part, they just have a budget, and you're either going to do it or you're not. The commercial side, we have a day rate minimum that we work off of, but we tie in licensing to our work. So it's how many images are you getting from the photo shoot? How long are you using them? What market and where are you using them? And that is a formula that dictates that pricing on the commercial side. And that was something that took a little while to figure out of the gate, but we've gotten very efficient at it. And I know that if let's say I had a law firm come to me in my area. Well, I know that I can't, my rate that I'm going to license those images to that lawyer for if he's going to run them on a billboard are going to be very different than if I go shoot a sports campaign with Nike that's going to run worldwide. The value in those images are vastly different, and we understand how to price that. So it's really digging in, doing some reading and doing some research on your area on how you're going to set up your day rate plus licensing. And then also what's common now too is like not really a work made for hire, but it's called a buyout, where they'll want access to all of the images. And that's a negotiated rate that usually happens after the photo shoot. Because I typically tend to over deliver and overshoot, or if I have other ideas, I'm making sure that I'm incorporating that. So it's an incentive to try to sell that commercially. On the volume side, we try to be average and fair. I am a parent. I was a coach. My kids came up, and I've got 3 kids. I was one of 5 kids. And so we're trying to sell on the quality of our work. And we have done research, and we know in our area what our competitors are selling at. And I think my wife's been extremely crafty with packages and bundles and how we do buy all digitals, that we've been really successful with that. But our foundation for the volume side is being fair from a pricing structure. So if somebody comes to me and says, oh, well, such and such is charging this, like, well, we're charging the same amount, but look at the quality.
I like that, like the confidence there. And I'll always throw out there for anyone, if you need help with pricing and structure and, navigating that in your area, bring it to the bubble, bring it to, your CS person. We can always help you out there too. Last 2 questions. What is your favorite gear for commercial versus volume?
I use the same gear. I mean, that was the whole reason we started the volume thing. Is like, I have all the gear. Like I didn't need to get anything.
You shoot tethered too, right?
Selectively, yeah, sometimes. It's sort of, we've learned. When Kane says tether, for those who don't know, it's like going directly into my laptop, which is a standard workflow thing. I do commercial and editorial. That way the client can see what we're shooting, and we can talk about it. And then the athletes like to see themselves. But what we've noticed is when parents get a little too close, or the kids can overrun a station and they start annoying the photographer with wanting to be like, oh, hey, can I see that image? We sort of selectively use it. I'd say 50% of the time now for certain reasons. But as far as gear goes, so I am a Flashpoint user, and which is the same as Godox. It's like Flashpoints, if you buy it from Autorama, Godox is from B&H or something like that, but they're the same thing. But I've been using Flashpoint on pro level, high level shoots for 7-8 years now, and the equipment's incredible. But if I go do a bigger budget shoot and I travel, I'm renting the higher level gear, like Pro Photo brand. But for me personally, I'm not going to pay that price because I'm not renting my gear out to other people, so I'm not like recouping that money. There is a rental fee and the commercial work that we charge back to the client. But I mean, I shoot Canon. I use Flashpoint lights with the different modifiers you can buy for Bowens mounts, and Apple computers. Like, those are my three things, of which I think a lot of people in this group chat probably use. So.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And then the last question I'll hit you guys with is, how long is a media day shoot for a team of, say, 15 players?
Oh, I wish I had a media day with 15 players.
Oh man. So for me, the way that I shoot and bring them home, when I'm shooting, Lauren got to call them, so I don't care. So I come home with a bunch of images, and I learned from Matt, like just different angles and how to snap and dig in, get that personality and do this low, high. Matt be everywhere. Matt be like, he's over. I don't even want to use that analogy, but Matt just like he's tumbling around and he's up, he's down, he's on a ladder. Matt does everything. Like, and I try to mimic that on my photo shoots. So for me, 15, I'm gonna probably say about hour and a half because I'm running them through all my stations, maybe even 2 hours. I've had them go to 2 hours, but basically, again, they get carried away like that one station, like Matt talked about, where he does the trigger with the light. I just do a ring light with a Osmo or Action 6 camera there, and I let the girls just have fun there. So we do those for them to entertain themselves, and then we got the natural, the white, the headshots, and then all that type stuff. So I say about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on personality too. Some may give up before then.
I'll give my perspective and answer on that, and I'll use a couple of examples. So I shot, I think it was 2 years ago, I shot a special edition Slam magazine cover and issue for Duke men's basketball. And they had 15 players on the team. And we went in and I had 1 hour to capture the cover image with, a group of young men who were just out of high school. So trying to get all of those personalities wrangled in to do a cover shot and get them to all listen was a challenge. And then I needed to be able to deliver 4 or 5 different images of each player. And we're not talking standard poses. Slam magazine is a prominent basketball magazine and has an attitude and an edge and a feel for the way things are shot. And so I had an assistant, and we kind of had a game plan for how we were going to move around the arena on one half of it. And we just hit that nonstop. And I probably fired 45 images per player, about two minutes a player. And just next. So that gives you an idea of what that's like with about 15 players. When I do high school sports, we're usually doing, if we get a school, we'll get the whole program. Like, so my wife and I we're game planning for football coming up, and we're going to do the varsity team for our alma mater where we went to school, varsity, JV and freshmen. So there's probably going to be 120 kids, but we're going to run a 4 camera media station. But we're going to do it in 2 hours, the way we have it scheduled out. And it's just knowing your efficiencies, knowing your equipment, having backup plans in place. And yeah, so that gives you an idea of how we're going to run that. And I'll man 2 stations. We're offering I feel like, cut me off if we're running out of time, but media day is such an interesting term used in this field, and I think it's applicable. Media day traditionally at a pro level is a day dedicated where the players are going to put on their uniform and they're giving access to different media outlets. So the team, like the New York Jets, for example, they're going to do their own assets that the New York Jets need, but you also have ESPN there that needs their video assets for their opener. NBC, CBS, ABC, other news outlets. So they've got 12 different stations that they need to go to. So that's the true definition of a media day. Media day now, to me, for when people do travel teams or high schools, is social media. That's so the word still applies, but you're just taking cool pictures for social media. Nobody's really shooting anything to go give to actual media. And our goal that we have is, again, being a huge proponent of environmental, I want to provide and I don't dumb down my work. I wouldn't say that for volume level or high school sports. But at the end of the day, I'm not a huge fan of smoke. I'm not a huge fan of dark backgrounds where you can't see the environment. And going crazy to get all these action poses and all of that stuff. And that's a whole nother topic or discussion. I want to make sure that I'm like, when you look back at the photos in 25 years, or grandkids are looking at grandpa, like, does he have chains around his neck and smoke and all this stuff, and you can't see his face through a visor? Or am I trying to provide like a classic good image of that person? So we set up traditional station. Like, I'm not trying to take boring yearbook photos, but we take good, clean photos. We do our white seamless. Then we do have a flashy station that has lights or gels, some kind of filter. And then I try to do a really moody environmental portrait station, like at their locker or something like that. But we'll take the varsity team and we'll add what we call a media package, which is an elective, which is a fifth station that I add on. So I will shoot that. And any player who opts in or buys that, we shoot that first. Then everybody comes, we move into the team photos that the school needs. Then everybody distributes to their stations that we rotate through. And then I'll go shoot the field station that we have set up outside. And I'll have another photographer run the white seamless and another photographer run like the locker station. And then we have the other station set up for them to take their photos themselves. So I have no idea what that question was, but I just totally rambled, and I'm sorry. So
it was all helpful information nonetheless.
I'm self-diagnosed ADHD, so who knows what I just talked about. So,
oh man.
Well, we'll throw easy wrap up in here. As you guys know, these two love PhotoDay. I love PhotoDay. You're all here because you're interested. If you haven't gotten started with us yet, all the information you need is here. No subscription fees or anything like that. We're only making money when you make money. So we're going to help you every step of the way, set you up for success. If you're wanting to implement all the fun things that you're hearing here, check out their workshop. Hit the bubble up if you need more information. We are always here for you. Got this slide for you too. So if you have not had an onboarding or haven't talked to anybody from PhotoDay, reach out to us. We'll make it happen. Guys, thank you so much for chatting with us today. Y'all have been so much fun. I had a great time, and I look forward to Level Up.
Definitely, that was fun. Thank you very, very much.
Bye, guys.
Yep, catch you.
Bye.